I think it's a perfect Sunday for you to be here, because what we're talking about today is really what you do so well already. It really is right down it's your skill set. It's what you do. It's this. You make it better. You make our lives better. You make our communities better. You make our families better. You make our world better. Again, where would we be without our schools? We got a little taste of that, and we didn't like it. And so we're so thankful, and really, you're the message of what we're here today. So this message is for all of us. It's an all skate today, but I just want to say to all of our school employees, you really embody the message already of what we're sharing today, that you make things better, and you make it better for some of us that always make things better. I know that some of our teachers, not every student makes your classroom better all the time. And I was one of those. I want to encourage you a little bit. When I was little, in fact, my mom was so frustrated with me even going to kindergarten, because she would try to teach me my ABCs and try to just give me a little bit of advanced help. And she said my response was always to her, my teacher will teach me that when I get there. So poor Mrs. Jacoby, she didn't just get me 1 year, she got me 2 years of kindergarten. And so at the end of that, I think they probably could have used 3, but I mean, you have to go on at some point. Poor Mrs. Martin, my third grade teacher. I mean, she had a room full of boys competing for class clown. And you know what that is, and I'm a competitive person, so I was jumping in on that too. And I remember one time she was trying to do this really cool thing. You know, when teachers, you try to do this really cool thing for your class, something out of the ordinary, and she brought in, the boys would love this, she brought in 8 cows' eyeballs, and she split us up into groups, and we were going to get to dissect the cow's eyeballs. And her only instruction was, please do not touch the eyeball until I give you further instruction. Those were words for me of supposed to touch it. So I picked it up and held it up for the whole class like a champion, and she didn't love me very much that day, and I did not get to participate after that. Church was not always better. Some of you know that when I was about in the 2nd grade, Dwayne, my best friend, another redhead growing up, 2 fire redheads, we were bored, and we had a gravel parking lot, and we had a church bus, and it was good target practice. We picked up all those rocks. We busted every single window on the one side of the bus. The reason we didn't hit the other side, it was up against the building. Otherwise, we would have knocked them all out. And my dad was the pastor. He was so proud. You might be thinking, wow, he was a Dennis the Menace. And I did live next to Mr. and Mrs. Wilson. So, I mean, it might have fit. So some of you that are thinking, man, this kid's going to prison, there's a fine line between prison and pastor. I just want to tell you that, okay? You never know what difference you may make, nor am I the best example of a pastor either always. But as adults, you think when we grow up, mature, and everything would get better, but we don't always make things better. I know teachers, we have parents, we don't always make things better. I know that for me, it's my mouth. You just open that up, and sometimes things don't get better because my mouth is open. We also know people in our lives who, when they show up, things don't get better. In fact, we just know it's going to be a train wreck. We know there's going to be problems when that person or that student or whatever comes into the room. We just know we're going to have to recharge the batteries afterwards because things aren't going to get better. On the flip side of that, we all have people in our lives and in our schools and in our churches that when they walk into the room, they make things better. We know, in fact, as I say that to you, you probably have a person or two on both sides of the fence that pop into your mind. You think, yeah, these people I got to recharge the batteries. No, these people, when they leave, they make my life better when they show up. For me, I thought of Melvin Johansson, 92 years young. I saw him last Friday. I see him about once a year. He lives in Wichita. In 1972, my dad was his pastor in McPherson, Kansas. We were only there a couple years, not enough time to make a big impact on he and his wife Dolores, his late wife Dolores' life, but they made an impact on ours. And every church in every community that we went to after that, they always came and visited us several times. And he always came with the tool belt and always came with the toolbox. And he'd always fix something. He'd fix the plumbing, he'd fix leaks, he would fix squeaky doors, he would change alternators and belts. He would just find out. In fact, we had something that needed to wait and we needed to save money. My parents would just hold on for another month. They know that they were coming to town, and Melvin would just always make things better. He always made things better. The best example that we're going to share today that you might guess of who makes things better, we've been singing about him, is Jesus. Jesus just made things better. Jesus just makes things better. When he showed up, he made things better. I was thinking about this through the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I was thinking every time Jesus showed up, it left better. Things were better. I thought when he first invited these ragtag 12 guys that were just ordinary guys with lots of issues and problems, which is good news for us because we all have issues and problems, but that's who he invited to be his closest followers. And when he invited them, the first 4 that he invited were 4 ordinary fishermen. And think what he did to their lives. He made their lives better. He put them on the front page of history. He gave them a front row seat to the miracles, to speaking to tens and thousands. The best teacher that ever taught on the face of this earth, they were the ones that were right here there with him. And he didn't just have them watch. He invited them and he let them participate, and they became part of making a world better and making us better. He gave their lives meaning and purpose, which I believe is the same thing Jesus wants to do for us. He wants to give us meaning. He wants to give us purpose. Every community Jesus walked into, he left with people being healed. People healed of, that were blind that they could see. They were deaf, they could hear. They couldn't walk, and then they could walk. They were lame, they could walk. He made it better. He even made parties better. The first miracle recorded in the scriptures was Jesus turning the water into wine, and it was at a wedding celebration, and they were all out, and there were six or seven jugs of water that were 30 gallons, and Jesus said, go take those jugs, fill them up with water, take them to the master of ceremonies, and then have them draw from it. And they did that. They drew from it, and the wine was the best tasting wine they've ever had. And at that moment, the master of ceremonies was like, pulled the bridegroom over, and he said, hey, everyone else brings out the best stuff first, after everyone's had a little too much to drink. Then they bring the best stuff out. They do the best stuff first, and then the other stuff not so good. But you've waited to save the best for last. Jesus made even parties better. And when people were at their lowest, Jesus made their lives better. I think about the woman who was, he encountered at the well, who was, had 5 different husbands, 5 failed marriages. She was on her 6th relationship. Don't have time to tell the story today, but her life left different. Her life, she was better. The woman that was caught in adultery, and the religious leaders were ready to stone her because of the Jewish law. And he was like, who of you is without sin? You cast the first stone. And they all disappeared. And then he looks up at her and he says, who are your accusers? And she said, Lord, I don't see anyone. He goes, neither do I accuse you. Go and sin no more. He made her life better. Everywhere Jesus went, he made lives better. And of course, the best thing he did, he died on the cross for us as sinners, to pay a penalty and a price for our sin that we could not pay. No one is good enough to earn God's favor. He gives us his favor. He gives us his love. We don't earn it. He did it by coming and dying in our place and paying that price and that penalty for us. But before that happened, he actually had been crucified, but his closest followers didn't know that he'd been raised from the dead. And in chapter 20, verse 19, we see the story. Just a few short verses this morning says this: that Sunday evening, the disciples were meeting behind locked doors because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders. Their leader, their Messiah had just been crucified. They had not seen him. He was dead. The leader, their hope, everything, all their hopes went up in smokes when he died on that cross. And they were thinking, we're next. They're coming after us next. And so they were behind closed doors. They're in fear. Suddenly, Jesus was standing there among them. Peace be with you, he said. And as he spoke, he showed them the wounds in his hands and his side. They were filled with joy when they saw the Lord. Again, he said, peace be with you. We're going to come back and focus on this today. As the Father has sent me, so I am sending you. Jesus showed up and he made it better. Immediately, he brought peace into a room filled with fear. He brought joy into a room that was filled with sorrow. Jesus made it better. And in John 20:21, he tells us to go and do the same. He says, as I've done, peace be with you, as the Father has sent me, so I'm sending you. And I want to share this mission with you. In essence, the words he wants us to do is he wants us to make it better. If we want to follow Jesus, then we want to live like him. We want to make things better. Simply put, make it better. Jesus made it better for us. Now he wants to make it better for others. So principals, teachers, custodians, office aides, school employees, what's your mission? It's to make it better. And so many of you are doing that so well. Just keep doing it. You make a difference. I know sometimes we get tired and we get discouraged and we have those bad days, and you're going to have those bad days this year. There's a reason why you get the summers off, because you would be in prison without them. Our children would not be better off. There's a reason why we give a few months off, is because we got to regain our sanity. And a few months go by and then it's like, I think I can do this again. I think I can do this again. We trick them in. They go for 9 months and they go, I'm done. Never quit at the end of the year. Wait till the end of the summer. Then you'll be ready to go again. John 20:21, Jesus said, as the Father has sent me, so I'm sending you. What about employees? When you show up to work tomorrow morning, your mission is to make it better. Bosses, employers, what's your mission? How can I make my lives of my employees better? How can I make this more than just making $1 for myself? How can I help make it better for those around me? How can I lift those up around me? Make it better. Students, young people, what's your mission? As you go back to school, you have a mission. It's to follow as the Father has sent Jesus, so Jesus is sending us to go make it better. I think about my girls, and now they're well past this. They're adjusted. They're okay. But we moved when Reagan was in the 1st grade, when she was in the 6th grade, and when she was a sophomore, which meant Riley was 2 grades behind her. 3 different times they got to go to brand new environments, sometimes in a brand new state. And you know what? Every parent is praying when their new student is showing up to school for the first time and they don't know anybody. They're just praying that someone will accept them. Someone will bring them into their circle. Someone will invite them into their inner circle and become their friends. You're just praying, and there's parents right now that are going to be bringing students for the first time, or there's going to be some outcasts that people kind of turn their backs on. And God is looking for young men and young women who will stand in the gap and say, hey, God wants to help me. He's blessed me to help make it better. And you'll look for that student that's sitting all alone at the lunch table. I remember Heather and I driving around Patterson, California, and Bakersfield, California, and driving around the first few weeks and seeing sometimes our girls out on the playground all by themselves playing. And it just wrenched our heart. Friends, you can make such a difference as students show up and as your classmates show up to make it better. Because Jesus made it better for you, you can make it better for others. And here's the secret. When we make it better for others, we actually make it better for ourselves. You know, there's some things that we got to be replenished. We got to get our strength back. I mean, physically, you run a marathon or a half marathon, or for me a mile, or half mile, who am I kidding? And if you run any length at all, you got to replenish the batteries. You got to get a nap, you got to recharge, you got to eat a couple donuts, whatever it is, you got to recharge. Same things mentally. You exert yourself mentally, you got to get some rest. Relationally is the one place that actually, if you're around people and you're that person who's making it better, you get stronger. Now, we all need physical rest and mental rest, but relationally, I was reading a study this week, relationally is the one place that we don't have to be depleted, that we can actually make people stronger and they can make us stronger. We know people that we spend hours with. Remember when you were dating? Remember you spent hours on the phone. You spent hours with that person, and you didn't go away deplenished. And you needed rest physically and mentally and stuff, but relationally, you were charged up. You were ready to go. Relationally is the one place we can actually make it better and replenish people's batteries. And I was thinking of a scripture that tells about this. It's in the Proverbs. It said, he who replenishes others will himself be refreshed. Or he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. There's something that happens to us. So I asked the church today, what's our mission? Our mission's the same. It's to make it better. As the Father has sent me, so I am sending you. So how can we do this? Well, we follow the example of Jesus. Let's think about Jesus. Let's think about his example. First, he came and lived among us. Aren't we thankful that Jesus didn't show up remotely on a Zoom call? He didn't come to us through Zoom. He didn't come through a conference chat. He didn't show up to us through Facebook. I mean, he was like, hey, guys, how cool am I? Jesus asked me to be his friend on Facebook. Did you see that? I mean, I'm so glad Jesus didn't come that way. He came 2,000 years ago. He came in the flesh. He was God in a bod. I mean, he came to be with us and live among us. He didn't love us remote. And then he went on from there to living with us, to love us, to serve us. I mean, he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We should be serving him, but he set the example first. He came to serve, not to be served. And he came to give his life as a ransom for many. So he came, he lived among us to love us, to serve us, to give his life for us, to love people, to serve people, to give his life for people. And Jesus is sending us now to live among people as well. We're not meant to live in isolation. We're meant to be a blessing. As we've been blessed, we're meant to bless others. We're called to make it better. We're called to live among people. And that's why I'm glad, hopefully we don't have to go back to remote, but we all know it's not best for us. We know that we had to in those things, but we need connection. We need relationship. We need the hug of a teacher. We need their presence, and we need one another's presence. Jesus is sending us to live amongst other people and to love other people, serve other people, and to give to other people. So how can we make this practical today? We don't have time for everything, so I'll let you think practically of what that means for you going back into your schools. I gave an example of looking for that student that's all by himself at the lunch table and has no friends. Teachers, how can you think about how you can make your coworkers' lives better? Bring them Starbucks. That's my wife's love language. So bring Starbucks to her. That would speak her love language. Things that we can do, simple things that we can do to make better. But today, I don't have time to go all these examples, so I'm just going to share for what can we as a church do to make it better. How can we practically do is what the Apostle Paul said, to spur one another on towards love and good deeds. 2 ways we can make it better that I'm going to share today. 2 ways we can make it better for others, to show them that God is for them because we're for them. People aren't going to know God is for them until they know that we're for them. If they don't see the church being for them, how can they think that there's a God that's for them when the church is not for them? It's our opportunity to make it better. So I'm going to share 2 opportunities today, and we're just going to let the Lord lead where he wants to take this. But the first opportunity is in a couple weeks. We're calling it Serve Day, August 29th. We're not going to come to church that day. We're not going to go to church. We're going to be the church. We're not going to come to service, we're going to go serve. In fact, if you show up in this room on the 29th of this month, you will see that the church has left the building. Because the church is not a building, the church is a gathering of people around the name of Jesus. And so the church will not be here. Well, some of the church will be here, I'll explain in a minute. But we're going to go be the church. We're not going to come to church or go to church. We're going to be the church. I'm going to share a few ways that we're going to do that. The first one is this. Demolition. We're going to destroy some stuff. And you're thinking, hey, I thought we were going to make it better and build things up and make things, well, sometimes you gotta make things worse before you make it better. And so here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in our community, there's interfaith housing, and they have this place called the Lighthouse. And at one time it was an old house that used to be a drug house. And they're turning this old drug house into a house or an apartment complex, an 8-unit apartment complex for homeless youth transitioning back into normal life. And before they can build it up and make it better, they got to demo first. And it was like, hey, I told that to my friend Corey out here. I know he's here today. I told him last week when we were doing Convoy of Hope, he started salivating. I mean, he was all about the demolition. So we're going to need some men and some women and some young people that are willing to go demo this place, and so they can take the next step. So we're going to have a demolition party at the Interfaith Housing, the Lighthouse. Several other projects at our partner school, McCandless Elementary. And we live by this principle around here. We heard it from Pastor Andy Stanley in Atlanta one time, who says, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We wish we could partner with every school. We wish we could make a difference in every business, but don't let it keep us from not doing anything. In fact, he tells the story when he was going through the lunch line as a kid. You know, when they had chili and cinnamon roll day, that was my favorite day. Chili and cinnamon roll day. It was his favorite day too. And he would go through the line and he would say, hey, he'd say, you and I are friends. He'd look at the lunch lady and he'd say, hey, you and I are friends. How about an extra cinnamon roll today? And she said, no, I can't do that, because if I did that for you, I'd have to do it for everyone. And he said, that's such a lie. Because you can do it. Just because you don't want to doesn't mean that you can't. And so this principle is, we'd love to make a difference in every person's life, in every community, in every school, but don't let that lie buy into this fact that we can't do it for someone, or do it for one person, or do it for one school. So we're going to do for one what we wish we could do for every school, and we're going to continue to partner with McCandless Elementary. And here's some things that we're going to do today. I'm so honored. And I'm not going to call them out because I told them I would embarrass them, but I'll just tell you, there's some wonderful principals here. There's some wonderful teachers here, and you know who you are, and I won't get myself in trouble by saying any more. But we're going to help them on the 29th. They have lots of different projects. Here's some things we're going to do. Community garden. Help them establish a community garden. That's going to help their students and families. We're going to rejuvenate their baseball and kickball field. We're going to do some landscaping and beautification projects, like flower pots around the school. We're going to do some things that when they start their school year off, we can leave there and say, hey, everything's not done, but we made it better. We're going to make it better because we want to show them that we're for them and we want to partner with them. And we know it's going to be a hot day, August 29th, and we also want all ages to be able to serve. So we have 3 on-site projects right now for all ages and all abilities. Families can do this together. Our seniors can do this. Here's 3 of the projects. One is we're going to assemble crisis care kits through our Nazarene Compassion International. Those are basically crisis kits that when there's a flood or a tornado or there's a hurricane, that when that happens, that's not the time to assemble crisis care kits and get them ready. You got to get them ready before the disaster hits. And so we're going to help our Nazarene Compassion International. All the supplies will be here, but in the gym, families can do this, seniors can do this. We're going to package assemble crisis care kits, so when those things happen, they'll have them available. We're going to have 4 boxes for our first responders. 4 boxes, we're going to assemble some goodies, some snacks, some scooters, gift cards, and we're going to assemble them together, and then we're going to take them to our first responders, to our EMTs, to our firefighters, to our police officers and sheriffs and law enforcement. Our first responders, those on the front lines, we want them to know this church is for them, that we're for them. We want to make their lives better. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to bake some cookies. And Jackie Ashcraft is actually going to lead that, so you know it's going to be good. We're going to also deliver these, make a bunch of cookies and deliver those to folks, whether it's on the front lines, first responders, hospitals, or whatever. I forgot what it was, but I know we're going to make those cookies not to consume them ourselves, but to actually give them away. Although I think they do probably need 1 or 2 quality control people. And so Heather and I have volunteered to be the quality control. So we got that covered. We don't need your help on that. If you have other ideas, see Pastor Nate. No guarantees. We want to make sure that we have enough volunteers to service these projects, but we're not the only ones that have ideas. You may have some ideas. Some of these ideas came from you, but we don't want to make any guarantees, but let us know. There might be an idea to go, yeah, we could jump on that. We could do that. Let's do it together. So today, to make this happen, we're asking everyone to serve and to give. We're asking everyone to serve and to give, and the way that you can serve is to text the word Hutch to 56316. If you want to text the word Hutch to 56316, when you do that, it's going to pull up a screen and it's going to give you these different options. You're going to want to click on that Serve Day 2021. And after you click on the Serve Day 2021, it's going to take you can read that, or you can just go down here and say, please sign up here. You click on that, please sign up here. And then the next thing that's going to pop up for you, is it's a form to fill out your name, your information, your email, so we can contact you. But then there's your t-shirt sizes, because we're going to have everyone, in fact, we're getting newer 4 shirts, but we want everyone to have 4 shirts that day as you're working and serving in your community. So you'll give us your t-shirt size. And actually, we didn't have it go long enough, but it actually has up to 6 spots. So if you're a family of 6 or less, you can sign up all at one sitting. You don't have to do this multiple times. Now, if you're a family of 7, then you'll need to fill that out twice. But why are we doing this? Well, we want to make a difference. We want to make things better. We believe Jesus made things better for us. He's blessed us. We're called to be a blessing and make it better for others. The other thing we're asking you to do to help make it better is there's going to be some costs and supplies and things. We're asking everyone to give towards this. Again, if you're new here today, you're a guest of ours. This is not a conversation directed to you. It doesn't mean you can't. We just don't want you to feel we tricked you into church to come today to give. So we just want to say that we would like everyone to give $21. $21. Why 21? Why not 20? Because we want to put 2020 behind us. That's one thing. And we're certainly hoping 2021 is going to get better. We could have done 22, but here's the other reason we chose 21 is because where he says, the Father has sent me, so I am sending you. That's John 20:21. So if you're a teacher or principal or educator, you're going to like that. I kind of tied some things together to make it work. So we're going to do $21. We're asking everyone to give 20. We know everyone can't give. That's okay. You can serve. Maybe you can't. We're not going to deny anybody a t-shirt or anything like that. We want you to come. We want you to serve that day. We want you to sign up. But some of you could make up for the person that can't. You could give 42. You could cover yourself and someone else. Some of you could pay $210 and buy 10 shirts. You get the picture. But when you do that, when you go to the giving part, have all those pictures. There's a place when you text Hutch to 56316, you can there's a little giving icon, or it just says give today. Hit that, and there's these about 7, 8 different things you can give to. For this project, you want to hit the for fund. It means that we're for others, we're for our community, and all the money that goes to the for fund, that $21 or whatever you give to that, is going to go towards these projects. Secondly, today we can make it better for someone. Boy, I stewed about this. I thought about this. I almost talked myself out of this. I almost talked myself out of it on Friday when I came across Brian, our treasurer, and he was telling us our August finances, which August is always our lowest giving month of the year, and yet one of our highest expenditure months of the year. And so after he told me that, hey, giving's like always in August is a little bit down, I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. But then I immediately thought of the scripture, he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. And that God's going to take care of us as we take care of others. So I want to tell you about my friend Colt Hahn. He didn't ask me to do this. He probably wouldn't want me to do this. So I didn't ask for his permission. I'm asking for his forgiveness. Colt is 19 years old. He's a 20 Bueller graduate. Actually, he's going to be 20 on August 18th. His birthday is coming up. He's been a part of our church for a long time. His grandparents raised him. I mean, he hasn't seen his biological dad. He hasn't seen a dad. He didn't have an adopted dad either. He hasn't seen his dad since the 3rd grade. His grandparents were wonderful people. They've raised him in this church since he was 5. And a couple years ago in 2018, his grandma died and passed away. And then just this last November 19, 2020, suddenly, not from COVID, but his grandfather, his Bill, and many of you know him, he passed away, leaving Colt all by himself at the age of 18 to figure this out. He now lives in his grandparents' little 2-bedroom home in Bueller. He's paying the bills. He's working. He's doing everything he can to make ends work. And on top of that, he just finished his AA degree at Hutchinson Community College. And now he has this dream to be a teacher, an ag teacher. He was heavily involved in FFA, and he wants to go on and he wants to be an ag teacher. And he's going on to K-State. He's been accepted. He's done all the financial arrangements. And after all the financial aid, the scholarships, the student loans that he qualified for, he has about $10,000 remaining on his bill. And I just began to think, man, my heart was burdened for him. And I was thinking, man, I'd love to help Colt. I was thinking, I don't have $10,000. If I would, I'd just give it to him. But I was like, I do have something. And it doesn't mean I don't have anything, so I do have something. And Heather and I have something that we can give and help Colt with. And I thought, who knows? Lay this before the people. Let God impress upon people's heart. Never any guilt or manipulation, but just to share the need. And I thought, who knows? If we would, same thing, if you want to give to that, you could text the word Hutch to 56316. And you could go down and you'll see a benevolence or helping hands. It's a thing that we already have. And for the next 3 or 4 weeks, anything that comes in the helping hands or the benevolence fund, after you hit the, see that little giving icon? You click on that giving. It'll walk you through how to give. One of those things will be that fund that we talked about. Another place is the helping hands. Everything that comes in the helping hands or the benevolence, the next 3 or 4 weeks, all of it's going to go to Colt Hahn. I know that he'll work, and he's still working. He's working a full-time. He's going to school full-time. He didn't ask me to do this, but I thought, how cool would it be if Colt went to school this fall knowing he had an army of people behind him, knowing that he had a church that was for him, and that he may have lost his biological family, but he still has a family. We are his family. He's a great young man, and I think God's going to do great things with this young man's life. And so I'm not asking what amount or whatever. I'm just asking you to pray about it and say, hey, God, what would you have me to give to this? And if you do give in the form of a check or something, please make sure you put helping hands or make sure you put Colt Hahn and put it in the giving boxes in the back if you do that. Or if you do cash, put an envelope and please write what it's for. But if you do it the easy way and give online, you can just know that Helping Hands is going to go towards helping Colt Hahn. And I just believe it gives us an opportunity to make it better. And I know there's other people that have needs. And I know there's other students that have financial needs. I got 2. Take an offering for them too. We're going to take an offering. I'm just kidding. I get it. We all have needs. But let's do for one what we wish we could do for everyone. And all of us doing something, maybe we'll get to 10,000, maybe we won't. But I can tell you what, it's going to be a big shot in the arm, and it's going to tell him that his church loves him and the people of God are for him. Can I thank you before we have our baptism? I'm going to invite the worship team to come up here now, and we're going to transition to our baptisms. Our children, we do this as a family, so all of our kids come in, and so they're going to line up in the front up here. And we have 2 that are getting baptized. We've baptized every Sunday in July. We took a break last week, didn't have anyone. We have some more baptisms next week. What is baptism? Baptism is just an outward expression of something that's taken place inside. It's like my wedding ring. I can take this, my fingers are getting fatter, so it's hard to get it off. But I'm just as married to Heather without this on as I am with it on. It's just a symbol of something that's already taken place. That's what baptism is. It's a symbol of what's already taken place inside. That what these that have been baptized are saying is that they're giving their lives to Jesus Christ. They're trusting Him for their forgiveness, and they want to follow Him. And this is just a way they do it publicly. And sure didn't mean to embarrass anybody. I didn't know he was going to be here, but Colt, you're loved. And I didn't know if you were going to be here or not today, but he was most excited when I talked to him a few days ago. They had a few 3rd and 4th grade boys that got baptized, and he was so excited about that. This is a great young man, and we're going to, I believe, make a difference. So anyway, we're going to baptize these 2 today. Then after the baptism, Pastor Brandon will give us some instructions about eating and stuff. But as a church, we celebrate. The Scripture says when one person comes to Christ, that the angels in heaven rejoice. And so we believe around here, if the angels in heaven are having a party, we better have a party. So I'm going to invite those who are going to be baptized to join me over here on the edge of the stage. We celebrate baptisms. You're welcome to clap and stuff, and at the end we'll sing all together.
fall like lightning. I saw darkness run for cover, but the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. I believe in signs and wonders. I have resurrection power. Still the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. Yeah, my praise belongs to you forever. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Come together, sons and daughters, bought with blood and washed in water. Sing the praises of the Spirit, Son, and Father. Our God will finish what He started. Yes, our God will finish what He started. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. Now I'm alive. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Yeah. From death to life, now I'm alive.
Awesome. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, thank you so much to you teachers for all that you guys do all throughout the year. We really appreciate all of you guys. We have food trucks out there ready to go, and I love food truck food, and if you are like me, you're going to absolutely love it. We got tables set up out there. If we need to set up more tables in the lobby here, we'll set up more tables in the lobby here. But guys, go have fun. Go have food trucks. Also, a quick reminder that next week we go back to 2 services at new times at 9:30 and 10:45. So 2 services, 9:30, 10:45 next week. We'd love to have you join us back next week. Thank you. Go eat. See you guys later.